you kind of got quite a bit of star power on both sides.
It seems to be the theme of the start of our season here. I feel like every team we've played so far has a lot of star power on the other side. So, like we've been saying all along, it's going to take a big team effort from everyone in this room to shut down another good lineup across the hall.
Cam, pretty good victories. I mean, last game, obviously, the result didn't go in the other's way, but looking pretty strong in the preseason. How are you feeling about your game right now? And a lot of guys try to mention that having you in the back end shows a lot of confidence in them as they play their game. What does that mean to you?
That means a lot to me. I mean, I'm just going out there. I feel pretty good right now. I wanted to get off to a strong start, and like I said, my job is to go out there and give us a chance to win, make some big saves down the stretch when we need it, and just give our guys a chance to come back like we've been doing or stay ahead. So, I'm just trying to go out there and do my job every night and let these guys do theirs.
Shots now with the equipment. What's your feeling on that?
To be honest, I haven't had those issues just yet. I mean, I got my chest protector a little bit later on in the summer, so maybe mine's not as broken down yet as some of the other guys. But for me, it hasn't been a big issue.
Cam.
Like I said, it's hard for me to see where I'm coming from when I haven't had those issues. So, every guy's different. Some guys wear different chest pads, and I never tried out some of the other ones. So maybe it's manufacturer to manufacturer difference. So I've only tried the CCM, so I can't speak to that.
Cam, what is it like facing the Crosby?
I think it's good. It's obviously you want to have a good start to the season, and playing against high-end teams, it kind of makes you raise your level of competition and play. And so, it hasn't been an easy. I mean, there's no really easy games in this league, anyways. So, playing against these high-end teams are the top teams in the league. I mean, like I said, it makes you raise your game a little bit, but I think it should be good for us in the long run.
So we talk about well-rounded scoring as a group. Kind of everybody, especially offensive guys, need and want to be doing their share, and especially against a team like this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we need at all times. I mean, we need to have every line with that can produce in different situations. Against teams like this, I mean, this is a team where they can roll 3-4 lines and get offense from each line, and I think we have the group in here that we can do that too. And against a team like this, that's definitely important.
When it comes to Sidney Crosby, he's a guy that's just so strong on the puck. And so how do you kind of try and approach and play him defensively?
Yeah, well, I mean, you want to get into his equipment as much as you can, and try and keep him to the outside as much as you can too. I mean, he's definitely a hard guy to contain. I've had a few matchups against him, and he's definitely tough. I mean, he's so strong on his skates and on his stick, and doesn't give that puck up easy. So just try and contain him as well as you can.
Cooper Rody's making his NHL debut tonight. What can you say of what you've seen so far, even it may not be too much, but and what you think he can bring to the team?
Yeah, just from camp, he was very tenacious on the puck. He showed some really good skill, and but I thought the biggest thing was that he was tenacious and would create a lot of opportunities for himself, and just off forecheck, back check, and whatnot. So looking forward to seeing him out there tonight. Yeah, thanks.
Have a good game.
How much of a balance is it kind of at both ends for you?
Yeah, it's a good challenge. Obviously they're known for their firepower up front. It's no secret. So it's going to be a good challenge for us, and we'll make sure we're ready for it.
You were saying the early theme of the season seems to be facing teams with a lot of star power.
Yeah, I think our schedule has been pretty tough. We've played a lot of really good teams to start the season, but that brings out the best in you. And so far I think we've handled it really well, and hopefully we can take another step tonight.
On the topic of star power, the names Crosby, McDavid, Malkin, and then your name got added to the list yesterday. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's obviously an honor. I think those three are still, on another level. I know that, but I'm young. I'm still learning as I'm going, and hopefully one day I can reach that level.
Is it hard not to get caught up in the excitement of all of this? Because look at all of that.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think most of it is because of Connor and Sid, obviously. That gets the most attention, and rightfully so. But it's exciting going up against the best players in the world, and certainly two of the best centermen in the world. So it should be a fun matchup.
You may see a fair amount, and Malkin say, what's the way to play against a center that can produce like he can for you?
Well, you obviously can't give him time and space. That's when he takes over games, and we have to make sure as a line, if that's the matchup, that we contain him and we keep him to the outside. And I think those guys are too good, just like Connor or any guy in this league, to not do anything all game. They're going to make plays. They're going to get chances, but it's about keeping it as little as possible.
Leon, what's the difference?
For this moment in your life, what's the feeling right now?
Absolutely. It's tough to put into words. All the hours, like I said before, on the backyard rink, watching video, just dreaming about this opportunity. There was nights where I'd wake up and I had a dream I scored in the NHL, and I wake up and I'm like, oh gosh, I wish that was real. So now we have an opportunity tonight to do that, and it's just so phenomenal to have this opportunity.
Incredibly special moment for you, but you also do have a game to play.
Yeah.
What can you say about the Pittsburgh Penguins on the other side of the night?
Yeah, I've definitely watched them a lot in my lifetime. So, they're a great team. They have a lot of skill, a lot of offensive ability, and they play hard. And obviously, they've had success winning 2 Stanley Cups recently. So, it'll be a good test for us. And like I said, I'm just looking to make an impact right away.
As a player, do you get caught up in the McDavid versus Crosby hype that it's a nationally televised game, or do you just want to go out there and focus on your game?
Yeah, I just want to focus on my game. I mean, obviously 2 unbelievable players, and the best in the world. So it's obviously, anyone to be a part of it is great, but like I said, it's a job right now, and I'm competing with and against those 2 players. So just trying to do what I can to help this team.
Todd said yesterday it's not about familiarity, it's more about you fighting for a position now. Is that something you really kind of take to heart?
Yeah, no doubt. I've been given a great opportunity here, so all I want to do is just make the best of it and show that I belong here and stay here.
What have you discussed with Todd just about what your role might be while you're here, or if you're here for the extended period of time?
Yeah, nothing crazy. Just just welcome me in, and obviously I'm gonna have an opportunity to show what I can do, and that's all I'm trying to do. Just come to the rink every day with put my best foot forward and be the best player and person I can be.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks.
You gonna make any changes to the lineup this morning, and if Marody or Gravel gonna get a chance to play?
Both will play tonight. So Cooper will be in, and Gravel will be in. Drake Caggiula is still injured, and Tyrati is still injured, and Garrison won't play, nor will Kyra.
What are you looking for out of Cooper in his first game?
Oh, a little energy, excitement, passion, typical of what coaches look for when they recall a young player from the minors. We don't expect them to come in and be the savior, but often these young players pitch a pretty darn good game right off the bat because they're so wound up, they're so excited. Just want them to play. I want them to play free, and if he makes mistakes, that's our job to help him correct them, but don't play with any type of fear. Don't be held back by anything. Just play.
Pretty unique first game for him. One side is Crosby, and one of the greatest players of all time, and McDavid, who is becoming that, Malkin. Do you expect him at all to be starstruck in the first few minutes?
I think that would be a natural, that you could lean that way. There would be a tendency to do that, but I've said it with a number of times now. I think today's player has a lot of courage to come into the league. There's not the rookie mentality of, hey, you got to stay down here, and they get suppressed by the rest of the league or the veterans. Young players can come in with a lot of courage, and they can play their game. You look across the rink and you see some pretty darn good players. You look on your bench and you see some good players, but I think it's different now than it was 15 years ago. Again, I might be wrong. That's just my opinion. I don't think there's as much fear or intimidation by veterans or opponents' stature as there was in the past.
Todd, against Nashville on Saturday, a lot of the players were feeling pretty good about their start because that's something that they worked on. Pittsburgh is coming off 4 days of rest. Do you expect an early jump out of the Penguins in this, and how important is the early portion of this game?
Well, I'm a lot more worried about the Oilers than the Penguins. Penguins will start well. Let's just assume that. They're not going to roll over and play dead. So we're going to have to prepare as we did for Nashville. We're going to have to talk about playing a certain way early and establishing our game. Look at shift quality, the first 2 or 3 shifts for each line, individuals, and try and establish our game that way. So it's way more about us than them. I'm giving them the fact that they're going to start real well, so we better be ready.
Todd, what have you not seen from Kara that you were seeing last year when he was in the lineup all the time and seemed to have progressed to be a regular player?
Yeah, his confidence level is a little bit lower now than it was last year at when he was really playing well. He seemed to handle the puck a little bit more. Plays were happening a little bit quicker. It's not through lack of effort. JJ gives us everything he has every night. And there's no tougher individual on JJ than JJ himself. And, he's got to maybe take a night here, take a deep breath, and then get playing again. But a lot of the pucks have handcuffed him in different situations, and just the pace of decision-making and execution. I don't think he's skating any slower. I don't think he's lazy. I don't think any of those things come into play. He gives us what he has, just that the polish has to get a little bit better.
Todd, when you look at matchups tonight, looking at how other teams have done it, Vegas didn't really do any defensive pairs. It was kind of just a free-for-all against Crosby or Malkin. Do you feel that Nurse Russell or Klefbom Larson, does one of those duos match up stylistically better against one of Pittsburgh's first or second lines? Will you look at it that way?
I think we'll look at it as a group of 4. Fatigue, shift length, who's coming out will dictate, but obviously we will want one of our top pair out against either of those two. We'll start the night a certain way, and we'll play into it. If we don't like it, we can flip. But there isn't a set pair yet that we want out on the ice against Sid or Malkin. They're coming one after another. We have to be ready with 4 players.
Leon said the difference he sees in the two is that Crosby's really kind of like a workhorse, whereas Malkin's maybe a little bit more of a free-flow guy and loves the one-on-one matchup. So then you would look, is Nurse, do you think, maybe better suited for a free-flow defense because of his and Russell's skating ability, where Larson really loves those one-on-one battles?
Yeah, Lars is, and then that's not taking anything away from Darnell, because Lars loves to get in the opposition's equipment. He likes to play close. He likes to feel and hear and smell and all that type of stuff, the opponent, get that close to him and be physical. Darnell can do that as well. And then you've got a puck mover, if you want to call Chris Russell that, and Clough on the other side. So they're constructed similarly. One pair will be playing better than the other, just that's the way it is. And likely for Pittsburgh, one center will be playing better than the other. And we'll have to try and recognize that and make sure that we get the right ones out against the right group.
Todd, we talked about the storyline yesterday, but as a coach, do you get a little more excited about what the game featuring some of the best players in the world?
Well, I get excited because I'm in coaches in the league. I don't like to use the word I, but all of us are in the best league in the world. So you're going to have the best players on any given night. And there's 5 or 10 players right now that are really at the upper echelon of the league. You don't see them every night, but underneath those 5 or 10 are great players. They're creative. They're fun to watch. So we're lucky just to be in this league. I don't think the league has ever had as many talented players in it at one given time as we have now. Roles have changed. You don't see the enforcer on the team as much anymore. They used to take 1, maybe 2 roster spots. Now those spots go to skilled players, and it increases the skill content in the league. Small defensemen never could play. Now they can all play. It increases the skill level in the league, so that the league is as talented now as it's ever been.
Todd, the star power just kind of involved in this game tonight. Can you use that dynamic to challenge individuals on your team?
I think the stars are going to be ready to play. The stars will play the stars, and sometimes the auxiliary players, important players, players that make a difference in the game, decide the outcome. And I know our go-to guys will be ready to go. It's the auxiliary guys that are going to have to prepare and find a way to have a positive impact on the game. And you'd like to see that for 60 minutes. That's impossible. There's going to be ebbs and flows. But when it's all said and done, they have to have an impact positively for the majority of their ice time.
Is there a difference in how you have to defend Crosby versus Malkin? Can you take the same approach to both of them, even though they're a different style of player?
Well, they have tendencies, and I think Jason mentioned some of them. Like Sid's great at puck protection. He's great at creating separation. He can make passes out of garbage, quick hands around the net. Malkin is extremely good one-on-one. Finds open ice at the right time, arrives on time. And those are 2 different challenges, so you have to know what their tendencies are. But while you're checking them, they've got a couple of wingers there, Kessel and Gensel and those type of guys. They tend to shoot it into the net, and that happens with Connor. Everybody focuses on him, puck pops out, somebody else scores. So we'll get a little bit of a lesson in what it's like to check Connor tonight with those 2 players here.
Todd, your power play's been pretty effective this year, but have you thought of giving Bouchard a little bit more time on the point because he's an offensive defenseman, and maybe a different look from Klefbom?
Well, we think that Klefbom is exactly how you described Bouchard, an offensive defenseman that has run a very successful power play a few years ago. He produced 35, 40 points, and right now we're sitting in a position where our power plays won us 3 of the last 4 games, in my opinion. Bush is very capable of playing there. The game will dictate that a little bit. Bush is running his own unit on the second power play. So we feel we have 2 players there, and they can both play in that situation.
Todd, the assumption might be in a game like this, you go McDavid right against Crosby, maybe as you have in the past a little bit, but with the way Malkin is playing, do you rethink the matchups in any way, and is there maybe more to think about with the way Malkin's playing?
Well, pick your poison. As a coach, pick your poison. But as I said yesterday, Crosby, Malkin, McDavid, Draisaitl, it's head-to-head. Those lines have to, if we're playing those types of matchups, does it really matter? Those 2 centers are going to play against those 2 centers, and everybody else has to contribute. And if the game gets matched up that way, we won't go through hoops to get a single match. We'll just make sure that it's head-to-head with those two. And I think it's an outstanding challenge for our two centers versus theirs, but the auxiliary guys again, the guys on the wings, the third and fourth lines. Let's assume that the four centers play outstanding, and it's a saw-off. Who's going to decide the game?